Welcome to AstroVenture, the DSLR astrophotography channel. Hey there, AstroVenturers, welcome back. If you're new to this astrophotography channel, my name is George, and this is the astrophotography channel for DSLR and mirrorless camera bodies combined with the lenses we already own and a simple star tracker like the SkyGuider Pro or the Star Adventure. Sorry for the bit of echo. I'm here in my living room, and but tonight I wanted to go over my course of how it is that I plan for an evening of going out to image. And tonight, it's Thursday, tomorrow, Friday, when this is released. And myself and Sasquatch Mike of the New Moon crew, we're going to head out to do some astrophotography. So, let me walk you through how it is that I go through planning my night. So, jumping onto the internet here, the first thing that I do is I go to TimeandDAT.com and I put in Salt Lake City, near location to me, and then I'm going to adjust this slider for the date that I'm going to shoot, which is November 8th. So I've selected that, and I'm going to take a look at the moonrise and moonset. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to slide this down. See here, and on the 8th, the night I'm going to shoot, the moon will rise at 1:36 p.m. and it will be down by 11:26. So with that, that tells me that I can start shooting by 11:26 without any moon. Now, you know, being familiar with my local area because of our altitude here in the Rockies, the moon tends to get down a little bit earlier than that, and the moon is only going to be at an illumination of 48%. So it tells me that, you know, I may not have to wait as long as the moon being completely over the horizon if I go for a target that is going to be low on the eastern horizon, and that might allow me to get a little bit of imaging started before that moon is fully over. So I'm looking at 11:26 is when it's over. It's going to be a illumination of 48%. Now, let's jump over to the sunrise and sunset. This is the next thing that I check, and as I had showed you earlier, I had set it to the 8th, but it has moved, so we'll reset that. Let's see here. November 8th. Okay, here we go. We have it locked on November 8th. And then I'm going to slide down here to where it says night. In this block, it is telling me here that it's 6:49 p.m. is when I will have complete darkness relative to the sun. Now, obviously, we had checked the moon set, and the moon set is 11:26. Now, looking at when the first light will come into the atmosphere and start messing it up, 5:33 a.m. With that, again, because of my altitude, I could probably squeeze that a little further to about 5:45, 5:50, but this gives me my time frame that I'm looking at that I can shoot. So if it weren't for the moon, 6:49 all the way to 5:33 in the morning. However, we're working with the moon, and like I said, the moon is down at 11:26, but it's only going to be 48% illumination, and it's going to be low in that western sky. So let's go looking for some targets that we could find on the eastern side that are low and should be minimally affected by the moon. Now, to do that, I also forgot. One of the other things that I check is I go to my local weather and to the location that I'm going to be imaging at. And here, I'm going to Huntsville, Utah. You can see it automatically popped up because I regularly check that. And I'm going to punch that in. And checking my local weather, they're showing clear skies, clear skies. Sunday is when something is coming in. Not exactly sure why this 5% is showing up, because every other model that I've looked at are all showing consistently clear. But I like to check the weather through some of the local forecasts. There are a lot of great apps, like you can use Atmospheric and so forth. However, the particulars of where I live, your local weather meteorologists are going to have a bit of a better idea based on, trends, what is typical, what is normal for where you live. So in addition to using some of the apps like Atmospheric, I also like to consult a local weather outlet, and this one has done really well with me. So again, it's looking really good there. And then tomorrow, specifically more towards tomorrow evening, I will look at the hourly and see what that's telling me. Now, we're not close enough that the hourly for tomorrow night is showing, but I will be checking this again as we approach closer. Okay, so we've checked the moonrise, moonset, we've checked the sunset, when it is that we have absolute dark, we've checked the weather forecast using a local resource, and now this is where I am going to be heading over to Stellarium. Okay, I've got the set right now at 8:32, and I'm looking at the moon, and the moon here is sitting, let's see here, at about 20 degrees. So I could probably even start shooting at this point, but what I'm going to do is look to the east. I already know that the moon is only going to get lower. I'm going to zoom this in a bit. On my Stellarium, I have it set so my constellations are on. My constellations are on. I have the atmospheric turned off, and I have my deep sky objects showing. And I'm going to start looking to the east. And 1832, 1849 is when we have absolute dark. But I'm going to go ahead and bump this up. Let's see, 1930. Let's go 2032, which would be 8 o'clock in the evening. And I'm looking for something low. Let's see here. I got the Flaming Star Nebula, and I'm looking at 20 degrees. Now, why am I looking to the east? Reason I'm looking to the east for myself is Sasquatch Mike and I discussed heading to one of our usual shooting location over in Huntsville, Utah. In that location, we know that we have very good dark skies to the north, northeast, to the east, and to the southeast. So those are the directions that we're going to be looking from this particular location. And Huntsville, Utah, I recently learned that there's actually an observatory there. But the local community, and I don't know if they have it written into their housing or whatever, but they use a lot of good dark sky practices with their lighting. So we know that anything to the north around to the southeast is going to work really well for us. So we're going to take a look here, and as I said, the Flaming Star Nebula. So this would be C31. It's starting out, if I were to start imaging at 8:32 or 20:32, it would be sitting at 20 degrees on the horizon, which is a little lower than I like because I tend to pick up a bit more green in the atmosphere. But like I said, the lack of lighting in this direction is really good. So let's see, we have Stellarium paused. Let's swing around to the other side. And here's where the moon is currently sitting. So you figure we're about 12 degrees off of the horizon. And again, at my altitude, being familiar with my location, the moon's going to be pretty close to starting to dip over the horizon, or even closer than what Stellarium is showing. So 8:32, I feel like I could really start shooting on this image due to how low this target is and how low the moon is. So let's zoom in here. And I literally do this. I get onto Stellarium, and I like to just pan around and kind of do some window shopping, so to say. So looking at it, we've got the Flaming Star Nebula, which is C31, and then we've got this nebulosity just below it here. And I'm not exactly sure. I see the letter Y cluster. Maybe that's what it's called. I don't know. Because that's a star cluster, but I don't see any nebulosity, names coming, or nebula names coming up. And I do see the Spider Nebula over here to the side. I see 417, but I like the size of the flaming star. So at this point, once I have a possible target, my next step is to jump over to Telescopius. And this website is absolutely amazing because you can go in here, and I know that you can also do this in Stellarium, but I prefer to jump over to Telescopius, and the reason being is I just find it to be an easier tool to use. So let's see here. It was, oh boy, let me see. Let me jump back out of here. I forgot what my target was. C31. Let's jump back over. I type this in, C31, enter. Give it a moment while it thinks. A little gear spinning. Here we go. Brings up the target. Okay, and then across the top, you'll see some images that have been submitted, and they'll come across here in this banner showing the Flaming Star Nebula. Some of them are really good. Some of them are more in line like this. This is more in line with what I expect to be able to create. And then I'm going to slide down here. It's telling me that based on, let's see here, based on the current present time, this is where it is in the night sky. Okay, and I'm going to move on down. Now, here we go. So, with this, you could set this up to the focal length you intend to shoot. I'm planning on about 500 millimeters. And then the camera that I'm going to use, I'm going to be using my full frame camera, my D600, and that has been astro modified. Sensor size 36 millimeter by 24, so I've got that configured there. And then this here is the Flaming Star Nebula. Now, over to the side, we had that other cluster that was in there. It was IC417. What you can do, and I apologize, this green box here, let me cover that. This green box would be the sensor and what this focal length is going to cast upon your sensor for this sensor size. And then what you can do is click on the camera, and you can actually rotate that box as you might do out in the field to frame things up. And so I see here, if I frame this correctly, look at about this, angle here, I'll be able to pick up the Flaming Star Nebula, and I'll be able to pick up this, it's IC417 was the star cluster that's there. I'm not sure what the name of this nebulosity is, but it shows me that I can get both of these in here. So this works perfectly, and let's say that I was shooting with a crop sensor, which is going to be 24 by 16, and I'm sorry, I shoot Nikon, so I do not know Canon sizes, but here we go. You can see at 24 by 16, I'm running into a bit of a problem with my sensor size relative to this focal length. So again, in my planning, I could certainly take a look at adjusting this. Okay, there's 400, still a little bit too tight. I'm going to come in here, set this to 300. There we go. So I've played around with this, and now I'm at 300 millimeters, and I can see that I could frame both of these up at a focal length of 300 millimeters when using a crop sensor of 24 by 16, which again would be Nikon. I apologize, I don't know what the scale size is for a Canon sensor. But this allows me to be able to see exactly what focal length I need, how to rotate my camera to get it set up the way I needed, and it tells me that this target is completely doable for the camera that I'm shooting and the focal length that I'm going to use. This is also beneficial because this particular target, the Flaming Star Nebula, there's not going to be a lot of appearance on the back of the camera because this is primarily hydrogen alpha over in here. And so I will see some of it, but I'm not going to be able to see all of it. And so using this combination of camera sensor, focal length, it tells me exactly what I need to do, where I need to position it. So that way there, and again, with a bit of experience, I will know how to frame this up tomorrow night to be able to capture it. And then when I get it onto my computer, not ending up finding out I cut part of it off. So there you have it. That's my planning from beginning to end. You know, how it is that I go out and find targets and how I choose them and how I look at the conditions that I'm going to have for the night, you know, as to where the moon is, you know, if it's up. Ideally, I would have loved to have been out last weekend when we had new moon, but unfortunately, the clouds rolled in. So, you know, I'm not going to get quite as much as I could, but I really think I can sneak some imaging in at 8:30 and image all the way to 5:30. So there you have it. The next week, I will go ahead and follow up with another video where I continue on with this Flaming Star Nebula. So, based on what you saw, this is my plan for tomorrow night. Hopefully everything goes well. And the following Friday, you'll see me sit down and you know, process this and see what I got and see how it all turned out. So there you have it. I hope this helps. If you've got some other tools or techniques that you use to plan your evenings, I would love to read about it in the comments below. So please, you know, add it in down there. And if you like the content that you're seeing here at AstroVenture DSLR, consider liking, subscribing, ringing the bell, and share the video out so that other people can find it. So until next time, I wish you clear skies and uneventful nights.